Hello everyone! Today we're going to learn about who, that, and which in English grammar. Again, my name is Danielle and I'll be teaching you about this section of English grammar. So, for who, that, and which, let's first start with learning about who. How can we use who in a sentence? Who is used to replace for people when they are the subject. And here are some examples. So, we know a lot of people who live in London. So, who is replacing the person who is the subject. And next example, do you know the girl who is wearing a skirt? Who is replacing the subject again. Here are some more examples. I love a girl. She has long hair. We can change this sentence into I love a girl who has long hair. So who is referring back to the girl, who is the subject. Next, the woman lives next door. She is a doctor. We can change this sentence into the woman who lives next door is a doctor. So who is replacing the person when they are the subject. Last example, people live in Vietnam. They are friendly. We can change this sentence to people who live in Vietnam are friendly. We are using who again to replace the subject. Okay, so here are some example sentences for who. We'll come back to this later. Now let's go back to learning about which. First rule when learning about which. We use which to replace things when they are the subject in a sentence. For example, I don't like stories which have unhappy endings. So we used which in this sentence to replace the thing that it's referring to, which is stories. Next example, the cat which is lying on the table is mine. So we used which here to replace for things when they are the subject. Next, here are some more examples of using which. Two sentences. Can you see the bird? It's singing on the tree. We can change these sentences into can you see the bird which is singing on the tree? So now this is only one sentence where we used which to refer back to the subject. Next example. The rain was heavy. It lasted for 2 days. We can change these two sentences into the rain, which was heavy, lasted for 2 days. So we're referring back to the rain. We don't have to say the rain twice. The rain, which was heavy, lasted for 2 days. Last example. I can't find my favorite books. They're expensive. Two sentences that can be turned into one. I can't find my favorite books, which are expensive. So which is referring back to the books. Okay, let's move on. So that was learning about which. Now let's go and learn about that. We can use that instead of who and which. So that just replaces both who and which. For example, the man that lives next door is very handsome. So instead of saying the man who lives next door, we can just use that. Next example, everything that happened was my fault. Okay, so those are our examples of that. Here again is your mind map for who, that, and which. Next, we'll go to the outline, which explains who, that, and which in more detail. So you can read about the sentences more in depth, who, that, and which. You can read about example sentences here before we take the test. In the next video, we will take the test. So I will see you again for the next video. Thank you for joining me.